coverage of an African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
It is a wonderful, warm afternoon in South Africa on Djuma Game Reserve. A beautiful female in Nyala is enjoying some vegetation, and this is Safari Live. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Safari Live. And what a lovely start, a beautiful female in Nyala enjoying the shade. It is a warm afternoon. My name is Byron, and on camera with me this afternoon is Senzo. Now, we've also got Tayla, who's out on the other vehicle with Sebastian, so you'll see them a little bit later. And then, of course, the ladies in final control, and I'm sure the Mara team is going to be joining us a bit later too. Now, what a nice start. Oh, I beg your pardon, the Mara team's not joining us this afternoon, so it's Tayla and I, which is great. So we're going to see what we can find for you this afternoon, but a lovely start with this female in Nyala. As I said, it's a warm afternoon. It's about 27 degrees Celsius, about 81 degrees Fahrenheit, so nice and warm, and that's probably why this female in Nyala is just enjoying the shade, busy feeding on some vegetation, probably browsing off little shrubs that she can find. Now, don't forget, everyone, we are completely live, so send us your questions and your comments via Twitter at #SafariLive. That's how you get hold of us. Now, some of you might be wondering, why have we started 10 minutes earlier? So we occasionally do school conferences and that, and we get the school drives on and get people to watch and hopefully get more schools involved. So this was a trial just to see if one of the other schools were going to be joining us. However, through some technical difficulties, they're going to be joining us tomorrow. So not a problem, but you get 10 minutes more of us. Sorry, I've got a fly buzzing around me. Let's continue and see what we can find. So you've got 10 more minutes with us this afternoon, which is great, and I'm looking forward to this afternoon. I'm hoping that we get to find some cats. I'm also going to be working on the birding this afternoon. I've got a bird challenge to see how many birds we can find in 2 weeks. So let's see what we can rack up this afternoon. But let's head across to Tayla McCurdy, so she can say good afternoon to you.
First things first, I want to know, can I donate birds to Byron's list? Does it count? Byron, can you phone a friend to help you complete your challenge in 1 week? Megan and Tristan and everyone in final control just shut me down. How terrible. My name is Tayla, and on camera with me today is Sebastian. I don't know why. I suppose it's an upcoming boxing match. I was practicing. Remember, this is live. This is happening right now. Nothing of this is recorded. How exciting is that? So you can actually have chats with us, and if you'd like to have a chat with myself and Byron this afternoon, I'm not sure if the Mara will be joining us. I know Jamie and Brent were going out. I spoke to Brent. They're not joining us. They're getting prepared for TV. So you can, did I already say the #Safari Live thing? I completely forgot. But if not, you can do that, or you can chat to us again, just in case you forgot, via the YouTube chat too. Now, I was hoping to find Short Trunk and her family, which is a female elephant that was actually seen at the dam cam sort of midday today. She was there with her offspring, and unfortunately at Track Their Tracks, I think it's them, they crossed out and going to Buffelshoek by Chjitwa Dam, which is a little bit sad because it would have been so nice to see them. I haven't seen a Short Trunk and her crew for a very long time. And again, just to come popping through every now and then, not an elephant that we see all the time. So that's going to be my plan. I'd love to find some elephants and spend most of the day with them. Perhaps we'll go down towards Chitwa and see what's happening down there. Hopefully there's no guests that have stayed behind in camp. And who knows, maybe Hosanna pops out as well. So that's sort of going to be our plan. We've got to put some cameras up as well. So we're venturing towards big open plains of quarantine, and then we'll also go to Treehouse Dam, but we're still a little bit away at the moment. I'm sure we will do some birding, seeing as though we do birding every single day. Who knows, maybe a reptile or two will be out. It's lovely and warm. There's not a breath of wind. It's fantastic. Now, obviously, Byron is doing birding, so he wants to find some feathered friends for you. So best we hop back on board with something that can fly.
Well, thank you, Tayla. So it is, the birds have to be shown on camera by myself and whoever the cameraman is at the time. So that is the tricky part. Seeing the birds while we're driving around is easy, and we can spot them and ID them, but we need to get them on camera. So that's the tricky part of it. I'm sitting on 24, I believe. I'm trying to have a look in this drainage line. These are perfect areas for birds. Some wonderful big trees. So you never know what we could spot. But we'll also be looking out for any animals moving around. I often find that if you do drive and you're looking for birds, you're looking very carefully in certain areas, you spot other animals too. So there is a benefit to birding, definitely. So Eric, you asked, when is the season for flowers to bloom? Well, just after, basically as we move further into spring, once we start getting the first rains, Eric. So about November, you start seeing a lot of plants flowering. Some of the trees already have started flowering. If you have a look at this beautiful knobthorn, Eric, you can see there's some wonderful yellow flowers on there. So at the moment, there are some trees that are flowering. Another plant that flowers this time of year in the winter is an Impala lily, and beautiful pink and white flowers. And I'm just trying to think. I think I've got a photo of one here actually that I can show you. I actually took this in the Timbavati, but there we go. Look at these beautiful flowers of the Impala lily. For some reason, I haven't found any around here. Well, this season just yet, but look at that. Beautiful pink and white. Really, really lovely flowers. So they are flowering now. One of the only flowers that we see this time of year, and it's incredible to see the vibrant color when the bush is so dry, and it really does stand out. But most of the other flowers you'll start seeing closer to November, December. You'll start seeing more flowers. Now, Tayla said she was going to try do some birding this afternoon too. Let's go across and see if she's managed to find some so long.
No, not yet. I did see a chugra though, brown crown chugra. That's really also fun. I heard some hornbills. I'm going to lose my cameraman in a minute because he's going to jump out and quickly take some pictures with the small little camera for a project that we are working on, a potential safari live story. So we're going to do that now as well. We've got to get it done, otherwise it just inconveniences my drive. You know, this Sebastian, he asks for the most ridiculous things out here on safari. He's so demanding. How does Shannon put up with you, Sebastian? No, I'm joking. Shannon is probably sitting watching going, Tayla, preach it. No, I'm joking. I'm only teasing. Sebastian's a wonderful husband. He's not demanding at all. I'm only teasing. It's payback now because I've only got a few days left to tease everyone. Yeah. Because then I'm going to have a real big mouth, I suppose, when I'm in Kenya, because nobody can do anything to me this time. Okay, so Seb, we're going to show them what you're going to do. That's what we're going to watch you. There we go. That's fine. So Seb's going to jump out. He's jumping out of the car. You heard that was Seb. That's the noise that a Sebastian made. Look at that white shirt blending into the vegetation so amazingly. That's it. Cam-ops have to wear those shirts in case they get lost out here, and it's easier for us to find them, of course. There he is. He's attaching the small little camera to the tree. There's a mount on there. And who had to screw the holes into the tree? Yeah. Did you do that as well? Handyman here, I tell you. So now he's got his little notebook. I should actually jump behind the camera and zoom in. That would be very funny. I think I'd break the camera though if I had to touch all the buttons, so we'll just leave it over here. That's actually our favorite thing to do, is when they leave us. Megan is telling me what I must say. Megan says that I must tell all of you watching that it's for the change of season story, which will be happening in a little bit.
Yeah, you'd only see the results in 6 months.
Sebastian says you'll only see the results in 6 months. So he's doing time lapses at the moment. We had a really nice, oh no, he's not, he's taking pictures. We had a nice time lapse the other day where we had that first cold front come in and all the clouds were moving about. It's always so dramatic, so that was quite nice. As simple and as quick as this. It's basically done now. How many images is it? 10?
Yeah, 10 pictures every day for 4 or 5 months, I guess.
Serious dedication.
Yeah.
I would forget half the time that I'm supposed to do that. That would be the worst.
Thank you everyone for your patience.
Here we go. Seb's climbing back into the car. So we're going to carry on to our next destination to put the final camera up and take some more pictures. Perhaps you'll join us there at Treehouse Dam. However, Byron's still on his birding mission.
Oh dear, see again, as we were saying, it's difficult to get the birds on camera. We had red-billed hornbill, which we haven't seen yet, flew away, so we'll have to find another one. This is a tricky challenge, but I like it. I know Tayla had wonderful views of Tundi this morning, that female leopard. Now, my thoughts are there wasn't much of that carcass left, and she headed on to Torchwood, and I'm assuming she met up with her cub, Tumba, the young male. So I'm thinking I'm going to head into that area just because there wasn't much left of that carcass, so possibly they may have finished it and maybe they move around. There's water at Buffelshoek Dam, so my thoughts are that after leopards feed they do generally get quite thirsty, so I'm going to go into that area, have a look around there, and maybe we get some luck this afternoon. I'm not sure, and it's quite warm, so they might not be moving around, but you never know. Maybe they headed into that area to go grab some water. They could go anywhere, but I think because they weren't far from there, they might decide to move into that part of the property. So we'll see and try our best. I thought I saw a little bird. Let's see if we can see it. Hold on a second. I don't know, there was something around there. Oh, that looked like a little flycatcher. Oh dear. Now, it's going to be tricky to identify. Where is it? I'm just trying to use my binoculars. It's still there. There's a little sunbird above us. Looks like a female white-bellied sunbird. There it goes. I think that's a female white-bellied sunbird. I'm just going to double-check quickly. That's definitely a sunbird. That's great. That's nice. And that's not something we see very often. So let's see if I can get a confirmed ID. But that is a female. So sometimes the females are a little harder to identify. Let me just double check. There we go. It is a white-bellied sunbird. No need. There is the male. Oh, wonderful. That's the male. So that has made it easy for us. The other one was indeed the female. So that's what we saw. Fantastic. Now the females, that brown coloration, so I think that's what we saw jumping across on the tree on the other side. They're so fast. That's a nice little one to add to the list. There we go. I think we've hit 25. Is that right? Megan, 25. Quarter of a century. Finally, hey Megan. rattling. Let's see if we can get them. Sorry, Senzo, this is tricky. There we go. Rattling testiculars. Add that to the list. Oh, nice. There we go. And they're also quite quick and move around a lot. Look at that. Rattling testiculars. You can also hear by the call. There's a group of them that just flew past. And off they go. Oh, that's nice. Another one for the list. Sure, I think we might be in for a good birding afternoon. Now the challenge, the birding challenge, came from an idea I had. So what I thought was, because I'm only here for 2 weeks in this particular stint, so I thought, well, let me open it up to the audience and get you to give me some challenges over the next 2 weeks. See what I can find, what I need to do. So there have been some strange and interesting requests. One of them was, well, it actually came from Brent. He said I should try and find 100 bird species. Now it's a bit tricky in winter, but there's a woodpecker sitting on that tall, thin tree to the back there. Senzo, can we get it? There it is. Oh, what is that? Can we see? It's a bit far. I think it's a golden-tailed woodpecker. Caught a quick glimpse of it. Let's have a look quickly. But a woodpecker would be great to add to the list. No, definitely not a golden-tailed. Was it perhaps a cardinal? Sure, I didn't see any speckling on the front. That looked quite large, that one too. You know what? I think it was a bearded woodpecker, everyone. Yeah, I think it's a male bearded woodpecker. And Tristan's watching at the moment, and he seems to agree with what he's seen. I think it's a male bearded woodpecker. No, just hiding behind that tree. But that's wonderful. That's great. Now, Tayla's just got some technical issues quickly. She just needs to swap her monitor around, so you're going to be stuck with me for a while, everyone. Sorry about that. So as I was saying, the challenges have been coming through thick and fast. One of the challenges was I need to climb a tree like James Henry did. Oh, there's a beautiful bird that just flew up into the... It's a grey-headed bushshrike. Hang on, Senzo, just through. Have you got it? You got it. There we go. Grey-headed bushshrike. Wonderful. That's a lovely one to add to the list because they often are very secretive birds. Well done, Senzo. Fantastic. The grey-headed bushshrike. Awesome. So as I was saying, one of the challenges was I need to climb a tree like James Henry did. We'll get to that. We'll get to that. Let's focus on the birding for now, and then we'll work on climbing a tree. James is actually a little upset with me. Christine, your challenge, I need to find the ostrich. Right, well, that would be great. We'll find an ostrich and add that to the bird list. So as I said, James is a little upset with me today. You all know James has kitted out a bit of a gym area around the camp in front of the final control, and I thought I would go and gym a little bit this afternoon. And the one of the sets of equipment that he has put up, 2 ropes with handles, it wasn't very sturdy, James, and it snapped and broke while I was using it, and I fell on my back. But luckily there was no one around to see. Actually, there were Amanda and Innocentia were there, so they saw. I think they chuckled inside a little bit. But I think James owes me workman's compensation or something for my injuries. But he is upset that I broke his equipment. Megan says she wishes she got that on camera. It actually was quite funny, so oh well. Anyway. Jeez, what a great start with our birding. It's funny, we don't have yellow-billed or red-billed hornbills yet. Just haven't seen any that we put on camera. Whereabouts in the tree? There, that's a. I think we've just try. See if we can get it there. It's a Burchell starling, well spotted. Just sitting on the. I don't think we've got that one yet. Can you see him there? Yeah. We do have We've got Burchell starling. You see, now the trick is I'm going to have to remember these birds that we have. Thank you, though, Senzo, all spotted. Our beard, you say you can't find the grey-headed bush shrike. No, that's strange. You say you can't find it on the app. Let me see. That's shouldn't be. Oh no! Oh, beard. It's not a wood shrike. It's a bush shrike. Grey-headed bush shrike. Who said wood shrike? That's it. Let me show you quickly. Our beard. There we go. Grey-headed bush shrike. Sorry, perhaps it didn't. Oh, no. Tristan says I said wood shrike. No, Tristan, I did not. Tristan needs to clean his ears. Oh, there we go. It's a bush shrike. So, grey-headed bush shrike. Maybe in my excitement I spoke a bit too quickly. Taylor's still currently building a television that she may then put on Wendy because she's got some technical issues. So she's just building a television to use as a monitor. Jay, you asked if the male and female birds count as 2 birds. No, they don't. It will still just be 1 species. So, unfortunately not, because that was great. Those white-bellied sunbirds, both male and female. But unfortunately, they won't count as 2. It will count as 1. Just the 1 species. It's a lovely afternoon. Oh, what have we got? Sorry, I just saw some birds fluttering about in that tree. Now, I wonder if they're not mobbing something, perhaps. We do have them already. They are the Retz's helmet shrikes. We've got them on the list. But always nice seeing them, a group of Retz's helmet shrikes. Looks like a bit of a bird party around those trees. The wonderful thing with these flowers at the moment on the knob thorns, they do attract a lot of birds. Now we're getting closer towards Buffelshoek Dam. I'm going to be checking the road very carefully for any tracks of these leopards that might have come back into the area. Sorry, I just thought I saw something through there. No. I mean, wouldn't that be great to see that female and the young male leopard, Thandi and Tamba? I haven't seen them for a while, so it would be great. But Tayla had wonderful views of Thandi this morning. I'm quite surprised though that she decided to take the kill across to the young male. Often what the females will do, if they make a kill, they'll keep it in an area and then go away, fetch the cub and bring it back to the kill. Not necessarily carry the whole kill, but I don't think there was much of that little dacre left that Thandi killed, but still, interesting behavior. And Courtney, you were asking what is my favorite bird and why? Well, Courtney, I really enjoy the owls, and the owls at the moment have been amazing. Scops owl, pearl spotted owlet, African barred owlet, and the giant eagle owl we saw yesterday morning. But I think my favorite is a martial eagle. Just a beautiful big raptor, deep set eyes, piercing eyes. I really enjoy the martial eagle, but there are a lot of different little birds I like, so it's hard to say. But I think my favorite is the martial. Very regal looking eagle. Alright, now it sounds like Tayla's managed to assemble her television to use as a monitor on the vehicle. Let's go across and see where she's going to go to.
Yes, I don't know how I managed to do that to the monitor, but I know that it's been coming for the last 8 months now. So I'm also not surprised, but rest in peace Wendy's old monitor who does not want to work properly. Well, we took Jiggers. Jiggers got sent back and it's gone straight into Wendy. This is how things normally work.
Yes, monitor's been traveling.
Yeah, it's traveled all over the country, all over into other countries too. So quite interesting, Byron, that the marshal M&M is your favorite bird. Very cool. I didn't realize that. But Sebastian, what's your favorite bird? Let's actually ask you that question.
I would say secretary bird, eh?
Oh, snap. Okay, so Sebastian loves the secretary bird just like me. That's my favorite. I always forget. I think I change my answer about 100 times every time I get asked that question. What is your favorite bird? It changes, but the secretary bird is my all-time favorite.
Have fun. Nice.
Oh, that is so awkward. That is probably the most. That was the most awkward thing that's ever happened. Even more awkward than saying reproduce instead of reposition. That's so funny. Do you know how many times that actually happens? And I bet you're all sitting there going, oh my gosh, that happens to me all the time. When someone goes and says high five and then I don't know why I did knuckles. Right, let's start talking about animals, seeing as though we're on a safari show. Enough ridiculousness for one day. Let's see if we're going to put a bird on camera. I did say we're going to go to Chitwa, so we'll definitely do some birding down there. Let's scan. Let's see who our first animal is going to be. We actually haven't seen anything yet this afternoon. It's been particularly quiet. I was enjoying watching the dam cam today. There was lots going on. And it was quite wonderful. As I was packing my room up, I had it going on, sort of just playing in the background, and I could hear every now and then splashing and things. I knew the elephants were obviously there. Ooh, yes, that sounds like a great idea. James, good thinking. You've said, seen as though we're going towards Chitwa, perhaps we could have a look at that gymnogene nest again. Most certainly. We can definitely do that. Hi! We better stop at our first animal of the day. It is a family of crested francolins. There's lots of them. They're just crossing the road now. You lot take your time. You know that. There's obviously no rush with you. You don't have to be anywhere. There was one francolin that kept looking left and right before it crossed the road, so I suppose that one's street smart. I'm just moving through the long grass at the moment, looking for things to eat. I'm sure they'll head to go and get some water at some point too. Trying to think where they would have to fly to drink, because even Chjitwa Dam, I don't think there's any water left in Chjitwa Dam anymore, or if there is, there's very little. I'm going down into the drainage. And it's a better spot actually to go down there. It's hot in the sun. It is, from being quite chilly this morning to thinking that I might actually have to put some sunscreen on. What is the temperature today, Megan? I've completely forgotten. And 82 in winter. That's unbelievable. That's fantastic. Isn't that so cool that theoretically we're still in winter. I think I just need to go home. I don't know what's wrong with my language today. I'm so sorry. I meant to say winter. I think it's because of all the accents that we do around camp. It's so terrible. We do not speak in a normal South African accent. We do every other accent that you could think of. We do in camp, and that's how we all talk to each other. Mainly South African Santon accent. Tristan, mate. Tristan's sitting in final control, and apparently he's talking like an Australian. It's the worst Australian accent in the whole world. So apparently he's doing that now. It's his favourite. He's actually really good at it. It's quite scary. Like when he talks like an Australian, you sort of look over your shoulder and you go, who's here? You have a viewer visit? Who's popped into camp from down under? And it's just Tristan. When I walked in there a moment ago, he looked very serious, typing away, headphones on. He's obviously listening to what we've got to say now. So we'll definitely have a look at the Djuma nest. We're going to head towards Chjitwa Dam. We're actually not far from the dam. I really hope we can see some elephants down there, because there doesn't seem to be much elephant activity here in the terms of footprints. There were lots and lots around Gallagher on Central, but as you can imagine, they all came down and had a drink, like I said earlier, midday. But then some of them crossed out. I'm sure there will be another herd around. Hopefully when we get to Chitwa, we'll get a nice big herd coming down to drink, maybe even swimming elephants. How does everybody feel about swimming elephants? I say yes, please. That would be a fantastic day. I'm happy that the wind hasn't arrived yet. We're gonna get treehouse now. We'll also show you how I have to try and protect Sebastian when he gets out the car next to a watering hole, because that sneaky Scuba Steve, the hippopotamus, likes to live at Chjitwa Dam, and he must be the world record holder for hippos that can hold their breath for the longest, because that one, we were in the sighting, Ferg and I once, with the elephants at the dam, and it must have been 10 or 15 minutes we just didn't see anything, and then the next minute all of a sudden this hippo popped up in the middle of the elephants. We thought, where did you come from? And he was there the whole time. He was just a bit intimidated. So we've got to watch out for him, because he could be quite cheeky, especially if he sort of came up to take a breath and all of a sudden he saw Sebastian standing at the water's edge. It wouldn't be a good surprise. And it's not a very big dam either, so it's not like you can swim far away from it. Stacy, I can't say your name normally, I'm sorry. It's just I don't know, maybe it is our friend Stacy from Joburg, but I don't know. But you're just going to have to deal with us calling you that. And you're wondering, when I get to Kenya, will I miss getting out of the car? Most certainly. I think the Askari is going to have to use his long stick to try and keep me in, or perhaps I'm going to have to tie a rope around my arm and tie it to the steering wheel, because I unfortunately will try and get out. So we've surveyed, there's no animals that we can see around the dam. Just some watch out! Terrapin! They bite quite sore. You wouldn't want to get one of those latched onto your toes. So Sebastian's also going to tell me just not to reverse, because I'll be in his shot. Let me reverse now. Let's get that out of the way. See, I try and remember what he tells me every day, otherwise I don't want to ruin his 6-month log project. Can you imagine? He goes back and checks all the footage a few months later and he goes, Tayla, you ruined it all, Chjitwa Dam, because you kept parking in my shot. 5 months of work. Can you imagine if I did that to you? I'd feel terrible. Beautiful though, out here. what we will do in a moment when Seb gets back in the car once he's finished this, we'll actually go up onto the dam wall, and because it's quite nice, there's a little spot in the corner. You can see, I'll just point to it, that tree over there is a nice fallen knobthorn. I think elephants obviously pushed it over, and there are lots of little birds that are bouncing around in there, and they come to the water's edge. There's even a squirrel that looks like it's having a drink at the moment, but we'll have a look at it. I really just want to jump onto the back there and start filming it, but Sebastian will smack my fingers like a naughty kid, you know, and play with all the toys. I really want to be a camera woman one day, like just once on a drive. Camera woman. And just film and just see how terrible I actually am. I don't think I'd be very good. Imagine me trying to find birds. I can't even find them. I just boss and point there.
It's a photographer, you'll be fine.
Try to be a photographer. And normally I get nervous, so I close both eyes and then I just hold my finger down on the shoot button and hope for the best. Yeah, sometimes they come out okay. Not always though. So Seb's back in the car, and then like I said, we're going to go around there. Actually, we won't move because that's. Can we look at that squirrel before it runs away? I know you're still getting set up.
Yeah, just on my earpiece quickly so I can
because it's so cool. You might actually be able to. No, I don't. It's that you'll have to put your binoculars up. He's just over here in the corner. Oh, he's just run. No, he might come back. I think he got a bit of a fight. A bird landed there. There's a couple sitting on the tree. Maybe he comes back. I don't think that squirrel really knows that we're here because it wouldn't have gone down to the water's edge. Now you can imagine something like a zebra is nervous to come down and drink. And a zebra is not a small animal, but when you're the size of a squirrel, you really have to be careful because you're out in the open. Lots of birds need to come and drink too. You're exposed not only from young leopards wanting a snack, but a eagle could quite easily come and swoop down and snatch you up. See, being very careful, standing up on its hind legs, just surveying the area. But I suspect that a little bunting or perhaps even a group of waxbills maybe just gave it a fright. Oh, look at that. I've never seen a squirrel drink water before. It laps it up. That's so cool. I actually don't know what I was expecting. I don't know why I thought they'd maybe sort of, put their lips to the water and suck it up as if they were sucking through a straw, but that's not the case. They lap it up. That's really awesome. Now, being a squirrel, you're quite lucky. You're very light, so it doesn't really have to worry about getting stuck in the mud. It's not really sinking. See, it wants to have a good drink of water, but I think it is a bit on the nervous side. Doesn't seem too comfortable. This is really amazing. And we wish we could have squirrel sightings on a regular basis, but they are just so quick. They always move in and out the trees when they've been spotted. But this one, like I said, it just doesn't know that we're here. It doesn't seem to be bothered that we are here. We're also on the other side of the dam, so it knows that we can't get there quicker. It'll be able to run off. Same shelter that the birds will be using, that sort of thorn tree. Or maybe it's going to go elsewhere. Seeing as though there doesn't seem to be much pressure in the sky. I did scan around. I didn't see any little raptors about, and I'm sure as it goes through all that elephant dung, it might also check to see if there's any marula nuts or if there's any seeds or anything that was left over that it could possibly eat. It actually blends in very well to that dung too, so a natural camouflage is what the squirrels have. They don't have any spots or stripes, or not the tree squirrel for that matter. There we go, and almost looking exactly like that golden grass. Goodness, you've come a long way for a drink of water, haven't you, squirrel? That was a big leap. That was a really nice sighting. I thoroughly enjoyed that. Thank you, squirrel. Okay. Treehouse Dam hasn't really got much else to offer. If we get to the dam wall, we'll do that now, and I see all those waxbills and buntings come back, we'll definitely have a look at them. Let's go around. Whee! Okay, let's quickly get another look. I also must find out, did anybody manage to take any screenshots? The last time we were at Chitwa, it was that very windy day when there were sort of waves that weren't being created by the hippo, but they were created by the wind. And I said to you, I wasn't sure what swallows or they were. We'd obviously knew that the bigger ones that had quite a bit of red on their breast, they were the mosque swallows, but there were some that looked dark blue on the back and then completely white. And I said they might have been pearl-breasted, but I couldn't get a proper view. Maybe today will be a better opportunity. Let me just check in these sort of thickets if there's any birdies we can take a look at. No, I think they've all flown. They normally come down in groups, not necessarily, big groups of the same species. Well, in the waxbill's case, they will be, but they'll come at a little food party. And again, it's safety in numbers. It's actually better if they do that. But no one's here. A little bit sad. Right, well, that's a bit sad. Oh well, next time. Let's go to Byron. He's got his binoculars out, perhaps. He's going to tell you a funny joke.
No jokes just yet, Tayla. I'm looking for birds. I heard a bull spotted owl, but unfortunately it was a bit too far into the bush, so we couldn't see it. But this birding is a lot of fun at the moment. I'm trying very hard to get new birds and spotting as much as I can, but a lot of the birds that I've seen already. Sorry, Senzo, I was just scanning the tree. It's all birds like Birchall starlings, and there was some African green pigeons which we saw yesterday, but it's always nice to see them. They were up in another tree. There's some dwarf mongoose just scurried off into the thicket now. I wonder if we'll see them again. No, I doubt it. It's quite thick down here. There's a little one through there, Senzo. Can you get him? There's a little dwarf mongoose. Oh, they are so cute. I love seeing them. I really do. The wonderful thing with them is they're quite curious. Out of the mongoose species, these I can hear some green wood hoopers. Sorry, I was just listening there for a second. Sound like some green wood hoopers behind us. I haven't seen them yet. As I was saying, out of the mongoose species, the dwarf mongoose tend to be a lot more relaxed than the others. They're very curious little creatures, and they'll stand out and have a look at you. Especially if you sit quietly and sit very still. They tend to relax and move around and continue with their business. I know a lot of you are saying that they are so cute. They are. I mean, how else do you describe that? The beautiful, tiny little face. And especially because they are so small. Demonique, you say they've got such little ears. I suppose they do, but they're little animals. So that's why. They're very tiny. The dwarf mongoose, the smallest of the mongoose species. Mike, I wouldn't go as far as saying that mongoose are vicious, but they together as a family, if they feel threatened by any predator, they can mob and chase a predator away. But it depends what it is. Now, I'm mainly referring to snakes. So the thing with the mongoose is, if they do feel threatened by a snake or anything, they'll work together, and they're very fast and agile, and they'll be able to chase, sometimes kill the snake that is in their vicinity. But I wouldn't go as far as saying they're vicious. I don't think so. Tristan was telling us a story yesterday, I think, about his brother who was attacked by a bush baby. So if anybody would find out if the mongoose are vicious, maybe it's Tristan and his brother. I actually had a good chuckle about them being attacked by bush babies. I've never heard of that before. So maybe they've had an experience with mongoose and found out if they are vicious or not. Andy, you asked, do all the mongoose have red eyes like that? No, I don't think so. Oh, sorry, Snazzy. Sorry. Snazzy, you asked if they've all got red eyes. No, I don't believe they do. Some have got darker eyes, some orangey colour. I'm just trying to think. Let me see. I saw banded mongoose the other day, and they had dark eyes. It's difficult to see on this photo, but there we go. You can see, if you do have a close look there, you might see they've actually got slightly darker eyes, dark brown eyes, as opposed to those reddish eyes that we saw on the Dwarf Mongoose. So they're all slightly different colors. I think some of the, I'm just trying to think what the large white-tailed mongoose, what color those eyes are, because they are generally nocturnal. So I'm assuming they would be a bit different. Let's see if I can find it quickly. Yeah, it's also difficult to see. It's more of an orange coloration to the white-tailed mongoose, but it is difficult to see in this picture. Not quite that reddish color of the Dwarf Mongoose. Close though. Anyway, let us continue, see if we can find some more birds. But let's head across to Tayla, who's still at a dam, I believe, and I think she's got some antelope she wants to show you.
We've moved on from Treehouse Dam. We're now at Twin Dams, but we have a very sad sight, I'm afraid. This deer, it's not a deer. I was going to say this deer antelope, and I thought that's ridiculous. How can you can't do that. It's not right. It's the worst pun ever. So we'll just erase that. So it's a young Impala ram with an oxpecker on his body, but unfortunately it doesn't look like a very healthy Impala ram. He looks severely underweight, and he's walking very, very slowly, as if he doesn't really have much energy to sort of, well, even put into his stride, which is a little bit sad. But this is nature, and this is one of those things, you know, if every single Impala survived, we'd have an overpopulation of Impala. So this could be a good opportunity for somebody like Tamba. He's not quite skilled in hunting yet. It would be a perfect target for him to go for. Shongile, Hosana, even if Tandi Shadow come around. We know Shadow's injured. This would help her out. She's got a young cub. She's not feeling too well either with her injury on her paw. So potentially this young Impala could give its life, but for, well, the greater good. You can see it doesn't really even have much strength to shake that oxpecker out of its ear, which is clearly causing some annoyance. I don't know what it could be. I don't think it's that there's not enough vegetation around, because the rest of the Impala look really good. There must be an internal issue. I mean, I can't see any visible injuries. His coat looks fine. It's not like it's mange or anything like that. I'm not actually sure what it could be. Now, I have heard a few rumors that the animals are sort of getting blue-green algae poisoning. That can happen. Obviously, like I said, that this type of thing happens when there's not a lot of rain around and the water isn't being reoxygenated. It becomes stagnant, and blue-green algae poisoning, my goodness, I'm tongue-tied on all my words, can, of course, affect the animals. And I did hear that a zebra apparently died from it a couple of weeks ago, or a week ago. So let's hope that that's not the case with this Impala. Could have some internal parasites, worms, something along those lines. They could also cause... And, the death of an animal if it becomes severely infestated with something like a worm. Different types of worms, tapeworms, roundworms, all these different types of things. And they're natural, of course. But like I said, the fact that he doesn't even have the strength to shake that oxpecker off of his body is a little bit concerning. So hopefully it is not a long time before he does pass on, or maybe he can make a recovery and come back from something like this. Very sad. Oh no, now you're going to be attacked by oxpeckers. Very busy. So that's another bird that we've seen. Oh, not doing too shabby. Right, but before Byron's bird flies away, let's go back across to him.
Well, now we've got a lovely bird, a purple roller. So one we haven't seen, one that I haven't got on the list yet. Always nice to see the purple roller. We often used to seeing the lilac-breasted roller. So this is a different species. You can see it doesn't quite have those vibrant colors like the lilac-breasted roller, but still beautiful to see. And white streaking down the front of the chest and the throat. Got a wonderful perch right at the top of that marula tree. Now, the question is, I need to ask, is do the bird calls count? If we can all hear it and identify it clearly, does that count as a bird for the list, or does it have to be seen? Oh. Let's see what the final control decides. Oh dear, Megan says it has to be seen. That's beautiful light on that purple roller. Megan says it can be half a point. That doesn't count. You can't have half a bird. Because the reason I ask, I can hear a orange-breasted bush shrike. Orange-breasted bush shrike. Something like that. But they're quite difficult to see. Judy, you know what? I think if we tried really hard and we really brushed up on our birding, we may get to 100, but it would be difficult. I know I did a birding day with some friends. Was it last year? I think it was last year. In the Timbavati, which is a lot drier than this area, so the bird life here should be a lot better. And we got, I think, 76 in one day, 76 species in one day. So, you know, yeah, 100 in winter, maybe. Just trying to think. That was over, was it April, I think. So there were still some birds around, some of the cuckoos and that. In winter it could be a little bit harder. Like I said, we might be able to see a lot of the little birds, but the thing is getting them on camera is very difficult. Tayla was talking about, or showed you that well, I wonder if it was an old Impala, perhaps. It's just possibly dying of old age. It can happen, one looking a little bit unhealthy. It's not always easy to see, but again, it was a young ram that, I wonder if it was an injured perhaps, or how it got hurt, why it's in bad condition. The thing is, we need to remember that, you know, there's an abundance of Impala around, and occasionally you do see sick animals or animals that have been injured, and they do die from that, but that's nature, and that's nature keeping a balance, the survival of the fittest. Right, now it sounds like Tayla's all the way in the south of the property. I wonder if she's heading to Chjitwa Dam. Let's go find out. Oh, look.
I am going to the south of the sands. Now, I want to, before I even get any closer, I've just turned on to Chitwa, I want to play you something that Tristan sent me. Let's make sure we play the right voice note. Joking. Okay, it's this one. Are you ready? This is what Tristan has just sent to me.
Oh, Tayla, you've really not done it very well at all. You need to practice on your Aussie. Being an Aussie yourself, you need to practice to sing your song and sing your words, mate. But we'll see you a bit later. Enjoy your drive.
That is Tristan. Can you believe it? Not an Australian, not one of my cousins, not a McCurdy, but Tristan. I've completely forgotten Tristan's second name now. Tristan Dix. Can you believe it? I was shocked when he started speaking like a proper Aussie. It's a very good accent. So yeah, very well done to you. I just wanted to let you hear that. And then also I need to go onto the radio. We'll do that all now, because I've lost the game drive radio. No, that's not. How did I lose it? Okay, we need to go to channel number 2. Let's go and see if anything is happening. Let's find out if the dam is open. That's the most important thing. But we'll go this way first. Dylan for Tayla. Are there any stations in the east that can copy me? I don't know what's wrong with my radio. I couldn't talk to anybody yesterday either. I mean this morning actually, not even yesterday. What we might have to do is, Megan, can you maybe do me a favor, seeing as I'm live? Can you please message Steph and ask him if the dam is open? Steph's the general manager of Chitwa. Thank you very much, that's very kind. So if we can't get hold of anyone and drive, what we do now is we just pop him a message and then he lets us know if we can pop round to the dam. It's so beautiful. It's such a lovely spot down there and it's going to be really nice. I'm hoping that we're able to go near room 11. That's my favorite room. And even though I've just only went there recently to have a look, it's just so peaceful. It's in the corner, there's not a lot of activity. You don't get the best view of the dam, but it's sort of right near that end spot. And you know I love this corner down here, the eastern corner, where the blacksmith lapwings have all their chicks at the moment. There's often green-backed herons and lots of Egyptian geese, obviously. There's just lots of birds around them. And I think if a leopard were to come and drink from the dam, they'd probably come to this corner over here. I can't imagine they'd want to go and worry where all the hippos are. Byron has sent me an Australian voice note, but now I'm scared though to open it if I haven't listened to it first. We won't know. I'm too nervous. Can you please ask Byron if it is a censored voice note? Let's just be honest now. Byron says it's a clean voice note. Okay. Right, that means I have to take my phone off aeroplane mode and see if we can pick up signal. We'll have to hear what Byron has to say. It should come through now. That was very funny. Can you believe it? Do you see why I'm so sad? I'm very excited to go tomorrow, but I'm also very sad because these guys are absolutely hysterical. Okay, here, are you ready? This is Byron, so make sure the volume is up.
Oh, Tayla, mate, get off your phone and do some work, please.
That was a good one. Touche. Well played, Byron. Well played. Oh, great. And look at all the great news that I've just received. Chjitwa Dam is open. Megan, thank you very much. You're very kind. So then let's start at my favorite spot then and work our way around. Hopefully here. Though I think the Chitwa signal is much better. Remember, 2 days ago, Byron actually climbed all the way to the top. He climbed up to the tower, not quite to the top. Actually, should we show them, Seb, how high Byron climbed? I think it's... Exactly. We'll just show you here quickly. While we're talking about climbing up that tower. See, that massive one on the left is the tower that Byron went up. You see that little... there's a tiny satellite at the bottom, so it's not quite all the way at the top, but Byron was up there. I actually don't know how high he must have climbed, but you can't even see the bottom because of all the trees, and those are tall trees too. They're not little short ones. They're huge. I was too scared. I was even nervous just looking at Byron climbing up there. I was broke into a hot sweat. Oh, now I'm nervous again. But we're going to head down to the dam and hopefully do some birding. It seems as though Byron wants to do exactly the same thing.
Now it looks like we've got a flycatcher. Oh, it just disappeared there. Where did it go? Is that it there? Which little flycatcher is that? Oh, we need to find out what that one was. Hold on a second. I think it may have been... I think that was a grey tit flycatcher. That's what that is. That's, oh, wonderful. It's jumping around, but definitely the way it fans its tail a bit and lifts its tail up, the white markings on the wing, little slight white markings on the wing. It is a grey tit flycatcher. Is that it there? Oh, gone. But don't worry, that is what it was. And then a fork-tailed drongo. We haven't had that one on camera yet. So fork-tailed drongo and a grey tit flycatcher. Oh, I'm very happy about that. Megan, would you be so kind as to please add that to the list? Oh, this birding is... We're doing well this afternoon. Oh, 31. Racking them up. There was a common scimitar bull which was also sitting in the tree earlier, but we have seen them, so but it is always nice to see those common scimitar bulls. Beautiful, long, thin, curved beak, for those of you who have seen it with us before. Cape turtle dove that I spotted. Why don't we head around towards Sandy Patch? And you said if I could pull off climbing that tower that we had to clean up and do a bit of work on the other day, and you said if I can climb that, I can definitely climb a tree. Yeah, probably. I must admit, it didn't look that high until I started climbing up there. It was pretty high. Wonderful views though, but it was indeed very, very high. Now, I just was listening to the radio and some updates. It sounds like they did see a female leopard on Torchwood. They're not too sure who it was. I think it was possibly Tundi from this morning that they found, and then and so it sounds like she's still on that side. And then there was a male lion found on Buffelshoek, so north of us. You never know, they could decide to move across onto our side, hopefully. Yeah, Tayla enjoyed my Australian accent. Emerald spotted wood dove. Let's try get that one. We haven't got that yet. Oh no. There it sits. It just flew onto that tree there. Did you see it, Senzo? You got it there? Hold on. Let me get a gap for you. There we go. How's that? Emerald spotted wood dove. Got it. Got it. Well done, Senzo. Thank you. Senzo's really quick with the birds. What is that? That looks like a starling. Now, which one is that? We let's see if it's the greater blue-eared. We haven't got that yet. Oh. Shall we just say it was the greater blue-eared? We haven't got it yet. I actually think it was the greater. I think it was the greater blue-eared. We've got the Cape glossy starling and we've got the Burchell starling. Burchell starling's much larger, easy to identify. The Cape glossy and the greater blue-eared look very similar, except the greater blue-eared has got a darker patch around the ear. So I do think that's what it was. It was quite quick. I think we can add it. I definitely think we can add it. So we'll put that on the list. Let's head across to Tayla. Sounds like she's down at Chjitwa Dam now. So I'm very jealous. She's probably got a lot of birds down there.
We've got some cool things going on actually. Green-backed heron flew, but that's okay. Should we have a look at it, seeing as though it's out in the sun? It was sitting on one of its favorite branches. Everybody has moved around. There's an Egyptian goose walking behind the green-backed heron. They're around here. And then, should we have a look at Vladimir before he swims off? He's just, sorry, we're going to bounce just before the animals all disappear. Just to the left of the, or right of the island now. There he goes. So Boris was out in the open, not Boris, Vladimir. And unfortunately, he's not feeling on the brave side today because he swam away, as you can see. But we were very far away from him. I don't know why he was so nervous, because typically you can get so close to him before he even moves off, and we must have been about 50-60 meters away. But that's okay. We have got many other friends to look at, and just on the edge as well is a pied kingfisher. Did you see it? Just on that branch. It's sneaky, isn't it? I only saw it as you were zooming out. I was like, oh, what's that? Beautiful pied kingfisher with a spear-like beak, and hopefully between the green-backed heron and the pied kingfisher we will find Sebastian. Look at the water monitors here. That one is being strange.
Oh,
There's two. One has just gone in the hole. Sorry, I'll tell you why now. I've changed my mind why we're looking here. There's two water monitors. This one on the right is the smaller one. The other one went into the hole in the left. But what caught my attention was this water monitor was doing a behavior that I've never seen before. It was moving its head from left to right, but low on the ground quite quickly. I don't understand why it was doing that. It was also obviously poking its tongue out into the air, and we know that they pick up scents in the air, and that's how they sort of taste, if you will. And they've obviously got a very prominent Jacobson organ, which they use on a regular basis, a vomeral nasal organ, if you must. And I wonder if it's not a mating pair. It'll be quite interesting. We are getting to that time of the year. I mean, crocodiles like to lay their eggs in October. I wonder if it's the same for the water monitors, which would maybe mean why they would come together and sort of doing courtship and mating. But very interesting. Hopefully the other one comes out again. They were very relaxed. I mean, again, we're not particularly close. But it was just so interesting. I've never seen any a beautiful big water monitor do something like that, but perhaps some of you have already seen it. Maybe you can help explain this behavior if you have seen that before, or maybe one of the other presenters have seen it and gave an explanation to it. Please let me know. #Safari Live on Twitter. That would be fantastic, or you can comment away in the YouTube chat and we can figure it out. But I will try and do a bit of research when I get back to camp, and I shall also ask Tristan. He seems to have spent quite a bit of time with water monitors. There's lots going on. I really wish one of these birds would catch a fish now too. That would be the real cherry on top. It's a pity our crocodile also didn't stay around. There's the heron is back onto its perch again. It's obviously relaxed with us and didn't mind coming all the way back. Standing very, very still, knees bent, ready to strike, but also to hold on to the branch. It doesn't want to fall into the water once it's caught a fish. That's typically what they'll go for, but I was telling you the other day, they'll eat pretty much anything, from large invertebrates, I'm sure, to frogs. Wait, again, I'm sure it's picking little insects that are sort of coming past off the surface of the water, because they're tiny. And to me, that just looks even too small to be a little fish, and it's not really sort of jabbing its beak down into the water. It's really just piercing the surface. So that's why I think it's maybe insects of some kind that it's feeding on. See, it's going to do it again. And that'll be time consuming, obviously, and I don't think it's necessarily energy efficient to constantly keep going for smaller prey like that, because you'd have to feed the entire day. But when you live out here in nature, you can only take what you can get, and if that means you have to catch 100 small things versus 10 big things to get your daily food requirement. That one looked a little bit more fish-like. That one actually looked like it had a tail. So maybe there's some little tilapia around here, or even little barbels that are swimming about and hiding under the shade of the tree, because that's typically what they'll do. They'll also hide on a hot day like this, and it's trying to catch them. Maybe the little insects are attracting the small fish. But this is cool. But we'll hang around here for a little bit. We'll see what other interesting things we can find. I'm going to send you across to Byron, and he's managed to locate the largest mammal we have in Africa.
We have indeed. It's a young elephant bull, and he just seems, looks like he is in a bit of must. Now, the must that these young bulls experience is not always as strong as the big bulls. However, he's not interested in sticking around for us. You can see he's moving quite quickly. When we arrived, or came around the corner, he lifted his trunk in the air to smell us. So he's clearly a little bit agitated, and I think that's possibly why he decided just to move off quite quickly. He's not feeding or anything, but it does appear as if he is in must. You could see him sweating from those temporal glands. That's a clear sign that the bulls are in must. Like I say, he still looks like a younger male. Doesn't look like a big dominant male. But you could just see his temperament, his behavior he wasn't very relaxed, and he just, by smelling us and deciding to give us a wide berth and just walk past, you could see he wasn't that comfortable with staying around. So So I'm not going to bother him. There's no need for us to try and follow him. We might find some more. I'm going to head down towards some water, and maybe we have some more elephant around there. Lisa, you said you were excited just to see even a small glimpse of the elephant. It's always wonderful seeing the elephants. I really enjoy it. Even a young bull like that is a little bit agitated. But you see, again, in that situation, I enjoy situations like that, and I enjoy having guests with me to show them, because out here we get a lot of wonderful elephant sightings where they're very relaxed, and we view them from up close, really up close. But we tend to read their behavior quite well. So something like that, it's nice to see different behavior from the elephant. You get an idea of just as we approached, I could see he wasn't happy, because he lifted his head, he's lifted his trunk into the air, he was smelling, clearly very curious about us, wanting to see what we are. Are we a threat? Are we a danger to him? And then you could see the signs, the sweat, or the testosterone. It's actually hormones that are excreted from the temporal glands, that liquid. So you could see that, so then you know that he's in must. So then again, just hang back a little bit. Don't try and approach too close and agitate the animal. And we just stayed back, and he decided to move around and move off. There's again no reason to try and follow and push the animal. Always remember, we need to have respect for the animals that we are viewing. So that was a lovely example of it. Just giving him his space, and allowing him to move on. Well, let's head back to Tayla, who's still at Chjitwa Dam, and now she's viewing some of the other large mammals we get here, but that live in the water.
They do live in the water, that's correct. You guessed it, we're with the hippos. There's a whole pod of them, which is quite nice. There's one slightly exposed, in an interesting position. I'm going to have my head under the water and just keep my ears out and sun the rest of my body. Nice shallow bank over there. It's a very popular spot for the hippos. And they'll do this all over the whole of Africa, really. They prefer to sort of rest on these shallow banks, and then when they feel threatened, they can just sort of drop off and, dive down deeper if need be. Though there's very few things that will mess with a hippopotamus. And one thing that I hope we get to see, hopefully I get to see it now before I go. I don't know if I'll see it in Kenya. I'm sure I could have a chance to see it in Kenya, but that is to see two hippos sort of charging at each other, or at least one charging towards another, so that I can show you the massive wakes that the hippos make when they move quickly on the water. Because remember, they will run along the bottom, and it's quite impressive to see that wake of water. It's not a small wake either. It will make you look twice, even when you're in a boat. It's so scary. I can't even tell you when you see it. And I mean, we saw it lots in Zambia. Oh, hello hippo, open your mouth. That's perfect. Just a little yawn there, and that would be really impressive. There is so much conflict that goes on and around at Chjitwa Dam, though, with the hippos. It's not a small dam. We were discussing that. We suspect that it is the largest dam in the entire Sabi sand. I don't think I've ever seen a dam this large. No, there's none at Sabi, definitely not at Lion Sands. And I don't think either Londolozi, Singita, any of the places have a massive man-made dam like this. It's huge. It's really, really big. So there's a lot of space for the animals to move around in. But of course, everybody's fighting for the best spot. And that's a good spot there. You're close to the water's edge as well. You can get out quickly. You can go and have a snack. It's not a particularly steep embankment. And then, of course, it's the ideal spot there is that shallow bank, so that they can actually rest with their heads above the water. And then we've got lots of other hippos that are all spread out all over the dam, and typically will be maybe young bulls, maybe the odd female here and there. But they're still quite relaxed for now. We got down to the dam a little bit on the early side. Normally I try to plan it that we come back a bit later, but we can always still do that. We can go and do a couple of loops. So perhaps from here we'll head towards the Djuma nest, and we can come back at sunset. Beard, you say that they're not very streamlined for an aquatic animal. 100% I agree, but I suppose that's because they don't need to swim. So, I mean, we look at a fish, and of course, there are not too many fish that are, quite large around the mid-region. If you think about it, most of them are quite slender. I also don't know the marine mammals very well in terms of the fish, so I apologize if there is a fish that is large around the midsection, but I'm sure they'll still be able to move quite quickly. But like I said, they're not really swimming, are they? When they're in the shallows like this, it is so easy for them to run on the bottom of the water, and they can move quickly. Isn't that cool? And ones to not really worry, you have to worry about them, sorry. You don't want to just be too casual around a hippopotamus. This is so beautiful. It's so nice to be here when the weather is so perfect. There's barely a breeze. It's nice and warm. I'm surprised we aren't seeing more swallows and things around. That would have been really nice. And I'm also keeping my eye open. Sebastian, have you seen the fish eagle yet? Just down there. I'm watching it. It's being mobbed at the moment. I think by blacksmith lapwing. See it just sitting in the trees. And it's looking down at the water's edge. So I wonder if it isn't trying to use the trees as a bit of cover. And then it will swoop down. And potentially it's going to catch a number of different things here. Fish. Of course, they're specialists at catching. But there's also Egyptian geese around with young goslings, so they could be going for that too, or any unsuspecting bird really, especially if they're down on the ground. But it's still my dream. I have not seen a fish eagle swoop down and pull a fish from the water. I'm still waiting. I wish for that every single time that I come down here. So as we were watching the hippos, my attention was actually focused on the fish eagle because I don't want to miss it. Seb, have you seen it before?
Yeah, but long time ago, not since I've restarted here.
A long time ago, says Seb. Bill, you're wondering what is the difference between an eagle and a hawk? Well, typically the description, to be an eagle, you theoretically need to have feathers all the way down to your feet, so where your foot actually starts, well, not my foot, but the bird's feet. Except there, of course, the fish eagle is an exception, because if they had feathers on their feet when they tried to catch fish, you can imagine they'd just end up going beak first into the water. So it's not really suited to them, but they're still classified as eagles. And I'm sure there's some other things, but unfortunately I cannot remember. A hawk, it's got to do with size, maybe as well. Maybe they have to be a certain size, but I'm not actually sure. Tristan is sitting next to you, Megan. Megan, can we ask Tristan for some help? Because I don't actually know the exact differences between all of the different types of raptor birds that we get. Maybe Byron knows. Byron can also answer the question. Sorry, Bill. I've let you down on this one. I shall go and study up on that, I promise. Megan just told me to wag net 'n bietjie, to just wait a little bit. She actually said just hold on a second, but it sounds so much better in Afrikaans. Even the hippo exclaimed yes. But they're just relaxing. How many are in here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 with the possibility of one holding its breath. So let's make it a round number. Let's say there's maybe 12 here. I suspect I've maybe missed one. So that's a nice size pod. And I would say that's an average size pod too, aren't you? Ah, okay. So Tristan said that it's got to do with the size, their feeding habits, and the way that they sort of live. Those are the prominent differences, I suppose. But again, every eagle out here, especially in this area, they'll have a favorite type of food to eat. And like I said, in the case of an African fish eagle, it's actually quite varied. It's not as strict as their name suggests, which I find quite interesting. But that you really only learn from watching and seeing them eating different things, because you can speak to lots of people and they'll argue against you because they've only ever seen fish eagles eating fish. I've seen them scavenging, seen them catching all sorts of wonderful things. But I think what we'll do from here, I think we're going to move on just for now. We'll come back, I promise. I want to go and check out the Djuma nest before it gets too dark, and then we'll come back to Chitwa for sunset. It sounds like Byron's arriving at Chjitwa Dam. Perhaps he's going to see some hardy-dars wading in the water.
Well, let's hope. For the moment, we've managed to find a giraffe that is over here. And so we're just watching the giraffe for now. We might find some birds around here too. I just had to move off the road quickly. One of the other game drive vehicles just moved or drove past us. Let me try to get us a better position, better light for that giraffe. Hold on a second. Nice. There we go. That's a bit better. Always nice seeing a giraffe. A pity we missed him drinking. I wonder if he was drinking earlier. I think he must have been. Very nice big male. It's wonderful here. Oh, and look at that. There's also a zebra. So just walking across the clearing there, Zenzo. Can you see him? Let's see if we can. The light is a bit difficult at the moment, but I know you've got filters in that which help on the camera. There he goes. Lone zebra. I don't see any others. That's nice. See, it's been a very warm afternoon, so chances of seeing animals in the clearings or close to the water holes are probably quite good. I suppose this looks almost like the Mara in that frame. Just, it's a pity there's only one zebra. We need a few more. Hey, Senzo, about 1,000 more. You can see as that zebra is moving, kicking up a bit of dust. It just gives you an idea of how dry it is at the moment. There's still lots of food around for the animals and that. Nowhere near as dry as it was last year, but you can just see. There's the dam cam. Oh, there's some birds. Just on the water's edge. Stormy Sea, you're a new viewer. Welcome. And always nice to have new viewers. You said that zebra looks too young to be by itself. It actually doesn't. It's a full-grown adult. It's difficult though to tell or to gauge an exact age for an animal like that. I wouldn't be able to tell. I would guess somewhere between 12 and 15 years old. It looked like a full-grown. Well, it is a full-grown adult, 100%. But it's difficult to gauge exactly how old it is. And you'll find there's possibly other members of the herd somewhere around. It is unusual to find a zebra by itself, unless it's a male. I couldn't tell from this distance though. It looked, like I said, I didn't have a good look. But maybe males will move around by themselves, just like this male giraffe over here. But in terms of gauging an age, it's very difficult, very difficult. Now there are quite a number of birds around here at the moment. Now, let's see, just at the water's edge there, Senzo. Can you see those? There we go. Tayla was right. We would see the hardy-dars, so we can add that to the list. Some hardy-dars. What else is around here? The light is very difficult at the moment for us, so what I'm going to do is let me move a little bit, because it looks like that whole herd of wildebeest, we actually saw them coming down, and now it looks like they're coming to potentially drink. That would be a wonderful sighting. Nice to see animals come down and drink. So I'm going to position this side of the dam, and we can look down, and then we might be able to see these animals come and drink. Let's see, that might be a bit better. How's that, Senza? Is that a bit easier? Oh, much better, much better. And also we can do some more birding there. There is an Egyptian goose. We don't have them. We don't have that yet on the list. There we go. Egyptian goose. Another one to add. Apparently, I've hit the 34 mark. We need to find a lot more though. Let's see if these wildebeest come down to drink. Yeah, they're all heading straight down to the water. It's a very, very peaceful setting. And as I said, it's so nice to see animals come down and drink. A lovely reflection of that wildebeest. A scene like this is just beautiful to observe. You don't really have to say much about it. The Impala in the background there too. Look how excited some of those wildebeest are coming down to the water. See, they are still cautious. They still do have a look around. When these animals do drink, they keep their heads down, so they are slightly vulnerable. Ali, you were asking if the animals will possibly move towards Chjitwa Dam, or if more animals would move towards Chjitwa Dam because they know the other water holes are drying up. Yes, definitely. But there are still dams that hold water. I mean, we've got this Vuyatelo or Gowrie Dam. There is Treehouse Dam. There is twin dams, so there is still water around on Djuma especially. There's also Galago Pan on the other side of the camp, so there's water there. But in other areas, I think there's obviously water around Torchwood, I think, water in Buffelshoek, and then water in Chitwa. So Ali, there's actually a lot of water around. Water's not really an issue at the moment. So Jenny, you asked when the dry season will end. It will be about November. We should start getting our first rains round about then. Oh, now we may have a bit of a standoff here because our giraffe friend is deciding to walk along the dam wall. Let's see. Have a look at that. He's just directly behind us at the moment. But he's come up onto the dam wall, and to be honest, what I'm going to do is let's just see which way he wants to go. If he did take a few more steps this way, I would have moved for him. I think he wants to go down into that drainage line on the other side. And dear watcher, you saying you're loving this giraffe sighting. It is. It's lovely. And beautiful big male. Yeah, he wants to go down into that drainage line. It's a bit difficult for us to see now. He's directly behind us and that pole is in the way. Just trying to watch him. Yeah, he's going down. I don't know if we'll get him, Sensor. He's just in a difficult position for us, awkward position for us at the moment. Can you get him there? That pole is exactly in the wrong position. I do apologize, everyone, but because we're on the dam wall, I can't really move. Oh, there, you might see him now. There he goes. There he is. Just move down into that drainage line. He's behind that piece of wire. Anyway, he'll carry on browsing there. The wildebeest are still enjoying the water, or now the open area. They've had a good drink. Number of oxpeckers on them. Some of the oxpeckers are also drinking water at the moment. We have got the red-billed oxpeckers on the list. That was actually the first bird we saw. That was a great stop. Giraffe, wildebeest, zebra and impala. An abundance of wildlife. I always enjoy seeing the different species together or in the same area. I think what I might do is, it's been such a lovely scene, this, with all these animals coming down to the water and being around the water. But I think we might carry on. What I'll do is I'm going to then head down towards Twin Dams and Treehouse Dam, check the water holes, and see if we can't find some other animals possibly going to drink. Do you see something there, Senzo? The blacksmith lapwing, we have seen that already. That is on the list, but always nice to see them around the water holes. I think let us continue, and we're going to drive. And speaking of driving, Tayla's doing exactly that right now and driving into the golden sun.
Yes, we've just arrived at Chitwa airstrip. We're not only driving in the golden sun, but we're driving in the dirty dust as well, because a very big bird has just landed on the airstrip and we had to just wait for it to turn around. It's now going into its cupboard, its hangar. It's obviously not a cupboard. Aeroplanes don't go into cupboards unless it's a miniature. But we're basically going to be heading now towards the gymnogene nest, which will be quite cool. We're not too far away from that, so we'll have a look and see what's going on. Hopefully the adults will be there today, or at least just one of the adults. It'll be, I suppose we'll discuss it when we get there, won't we? There's no point talking nonsense now and then they're not even going to be there. We're not far. We'll just jump into a higher gear so we get there quicker. And we will wave at everybody because we're polite. I think it's just the owner though, and Steph again. We're laughing because we're the first people that they saw this morning, and now they're the first ones again. Hey Seb. The last people. This morning, oh yes, there we go, the other way around. You should have said it. You said it much better than I do. I always mess things up. Again, now we need to concentrate. I reckon these birds up in front are a bit jealous. Yeah, you've got very small wings compared to that aeroplane. They're having an argument now. Oh, this could get quite good. Crested Franklins. Whee! Bit of a dispute going on at the moment. Declaring vocally that they're very unhappy with one another. Let's see if we can get another chase. It's always interesting watching birds fight. It's obviously very difficult to try and follow them. And there's two more. I think that might be where the action is. Isn't that amazing? I love seeing the hornbills fighting. There they go, back across the road, making that nervous noise. So that's normally the sound that we hear when they've panicked and they've seen a predator. But now we know that they also make that noise after they have a domestic fight amongst one another. Off they go, back across there. Obviously somebody got out of line and needed a bit of a hiding. And gone back to normal now. Thank you, Crested Franklins. Oh, we basically are unintentionally playing the Crested Franklin game today as well. It's our second sighting of them. Okay, we're almost at the nest, I promise. I can even see the Balanites tree from where I am now. I can see it. So it's just around the corner. It's a a lovely day to sort of bumble, don't you think? It's pleasant. It's, like I said earlier, there's no wind, there's none of these things. These are the best days to bumble, and you actually don't need to see anything. It's so beautiful out here. It's actually breathtaking, especially if it's your first time. Ah, I heard it hardy-dar. That's not what a gymnogene sounds like. They better not be trying to steal the nest. Try and go in quietly again. Let's see if I can